Most of you will have probably seen this interview here, and if you haven't, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. It's an IFL interview with Eddie Hearn, the latest feature-length interview with Kugan Cassius. I always enjoy them. And at one point in the interview, he's talking about the Eubanks, and I can't help but laugh at the things Eddie Hearn says about the Eubanks. Look, whether you love the Eubanks, whether you hate them, or whether you're indifferent about them, you have to be realistic when you assess the position that the Eubanks find themselves in at this point in time. Eddie Hearn is acting as though the Eubanks made a terrible mistake by parting ways with him, and that any success they've had since then has been miraculous luck, and that it hasn't got anything to do with any type of business savvy on behalf of the Eubanks or any type of wisdom. No, he dismisses all that and says it's just blind luck that they've managed to land on their feet with the World Boxing Super Series and all this kind of stuff. And he's saying, oh, Eubank would be a much bigger star if he was with me, and all this kind of business. You just have to laugh at this kind of stuff. He talks about luck, right? And look, I've got a lot of time for Eddie Hearn. I think he's done a lot of great things for British boxing and continues to do so. But let's be real. Eddie Hearn was extremely lucky to be born with a silver spoon in his mouth and to start off in the game of boxing with a massive head start over everybody else who's trying to be a boxing promoter, because his dad was already a successful boxing promoter and sports promoter before him and provided him a massive platform with which to launch his promotional career. So that's luck. But as much as there's an element of luck to Eddie Hearn's success, a large element of luck, at the same time, he has capitalized very, very well on the head start that he's been given. There are many other people who have been given similar head starts and they haven't capitalized as well. So, it's not just down to Eddie Hearn being born with a silver spoon in his mouth in terms of his success. He's also worked hard. He's also had vision. He's also taken gambles that have paid off. So there's a luck element, but there's also a talent element. There's also a wisdom element. And the same goes for the Eubanks. You can't say that it's all just luck that they've ended up with the World Boxing Super Series, with Junior getting this big fight with George Groves, earning lots of money. No. Of course they took a gamble leaving Hearn and Warren and doing a direct deal with ITV. Of course it was a gamble. But there's an old saying, fortune favors the bold. And that's why the Eubanks have ended up landing on their feet with a World Boxing Super Series. Is it a coincidence that they leave Hearn, join ITV, and ITV pick up the World Boxing Super Series? Is that just a coincidence? Come on. Yeah, the Eubanks are a lot brighter and a lot more savvy than Eddie Hearn is giving them credit for. Clearly. And in terms of him saying Eubank would be a much bigger star if he'd remained with Eddie Hearn, that's just pure speculation, and there's no way of knowing that, because there are plenty of people who Eddie Hearn has on his books who are not necessarily massive stars. I mean, Kell Brook wasn't a massive star. You could argue he's still not a massive star. Who does Eddie Hearn actually have that's a massive star other than Anthony Joshua? Yeah, he's got people that are moderately popular, but in terms of being a star bigger than Eubank is now, who does Eddie Hearn have apart from Anthony Joshua who is a bigger star than Eubank Jr. is right now? Name me the person. Understand what I'm saying? Kell Brook only really was catapulted into the level that he's at now in terms of popularity and visibility when he fought Golovkin, because prior to that he was really struggling and he was thinking about how long he can go on in boxing because he wasn't getting the fights that he wanted. He was very frustrated. So, I'm not sure where Eddie Hearn is trying to go, talking about, Eubank would have been a huge star if he'd stayed with me. Look at Eddie Hearn's track record, and you can question that. Hearn is an excellent promoter. I'm not saying that he isn't, but this idea that it's guaranteed success if you're with Hearn, or that he can guarantee you more success than you could find elsewhere. It depends where elsewhere is. Again, in the case of the Eubanks, they already have their own brand. They're not like, somebody like a Joshua Buatsi or a Lawrence Okoli, people who are building their own brand for the first time as fighters. The Eubanks already have their own brand because Eubank Senior, English as he likes to be called, he built his own legacy in the sport. And so Eubank Jr. is using that platform to build his own brand on top of, and then carve himself out as an entity within his own right. Okay, so Eubank Jr. kind of has a head start already, and that Eubank brand is easy to sell. People know the Eubank name, and people are somewhat familiar with the Eubank story, so they can go to ITV and do a direct deal and have it be successful. For Eddie Hearn to be dismissing all that, it just seems silly to me. And I think deep down he knows better, and it's wishful thinking on his behalf, not wanting to give the Eubanks credit. That's what I see it as. So, you have to laugh. It's all competition, I guess, between different business entities, if you want to call them that. But the Eubanks have made fantastic moves for themselves in terms of doing the ITV deal, entering the World Boxing Super Series. Can you imagine? There were so many people saying that they were going to drop out, that Eubank Jr. was going to pull out of the World Boxing Super Series after his first fight. Where are those people now? The silence from them is deafening. If he manages to beat George Groves, that is going to take Eubank Jr. to a whole new level. Not just in terms of his earnings, but also his popularity. And because he fights on ITV, he's always on these ITV chat shows, and that just increases his visibility. If he wasn't on ITV, how many times would ITV have Eubank Jr. on? If he was still with Eddie Hearn on Sky, would he get on those ITV chat shows as much? Probably not. Could Eddie Hearn have offered him that? Probably not. So again, I really question what Eddie Hearn is saying here. I think he needs to give credit where credit is due and stop being so childish about it. That's just my view. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Eubank Jr. against George Groves. If he does win, then sky's the limit for him. And the Eubank empire could well expand. At the moment, it's just, as far as I'm aware, Eubank Jr. is the only fighter of note that's under the Eubank promotional umbrella. But if he beats Groves, and if he wins the World Boxing Super Series altogether, the entire tournament, then you could see the Eubank empire, the Eubank umbrella expanding, and more fighters signing up with them. You could see that. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But let me know what you think in the comment section below about everything I've talked about in this video. Maybe you agree with Eddie Hearn, maybe you disagree with him, maybe you agree with me or disagree with me. Whatever the case is, drop it in the comment section and let me know how you feel. As long as we all keep it respectful, then there's no issue. It's when people start getting rude for no reason in comment sections. Do you hear me being rude in my videos? I sit here and I talk in a professional, well, I try to talk in a professional manner. I don't start getting rude and insulting people normally. So I expect people to respond in kind in the comment section rather than getting all upset. Why are you being so emotional for? I don't get it. Anyway, yeah, let me know how you feel in the comment section about everything I've talked about in the video. It's happening. I'm out.